Hi, everyone. Mike White here. Welcome to this week's blog post. Today, we're going to cover part 4, the last of the business planning sessions for 2024. Amazing that we've gone through this series so quick. I appreciate all the responses and comments and people who have emailed and had questions, and we've been able to work through some issues, and today is no different. Today, we're going to talk about a piece that, to me, is probably as important or more important than any of the others, because if you don't get this part right, not only does your business not function the way that it could or should, but your life in general can be very stressful and tend to be out of control. And that is scheduling. Time is exactly the same for everyone. No one has any more time than anybody else. We all have the same amount in any given day, week, or month. The only thing beyond our control is, how far into the future we're able to extend that time. But for the time that we're here, it's how do we manage? And, I see it across the board with people who are higher producing originators, people who are business people who tend to be more productive, tend to be more in balance with themselves and their lives and the things that they want to do. And I think a lot of that comes from sometimes just the words we use, sometimes the things that we're not aware of, sometimes the things that we believe that may not necessarily be true. And I think many times people get confused by terms like busy, thinking that being busy is a good thing. Oh, it's great. We're just so busy, blah, 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 blah. Well, there's a huge difference between being busy and being productive. They're not the same thing, and quite frankly, not even remotely the same thing. And the major difference is that busy people tend to have little to no structure in what they're doing and how they do it. There's no consistency in their execution. There's no consistency in how they manage the different tasks that are put before them. And again, they don't create differentiation between certain days of the week, certain times of the day, certain months of the year or seasons, or certain different things that affect their businesses. In the loan business themselves, we know we're much more likely to see contracts arrive on Monday and Tuesday. We're much more likely to have, people that we have to follow up with and prepare for weekend shopping, whether it be our referral partners or our clients on Thursday and Friday. So we know that those days are much more likely to require more personal attention. We also know that days like, Tuesday and Wednesday generally aren't as filled with new things going on. Those are the days that we can catch up, follow up, do those things. But you know what? If you don't have that plan, those days kind of just all morph together because there's no prioritization. There's no separation between what's going on. In fact, those people tend to be mostly in a reactive state. They just are constantly in a position of where they're reacting to whatever next quote unquote urgent situation gets thrown in front of them. And the simple fact of the matter is, people will tell you this. I've seen it myself personally. People who are proactive are much more efficient, effective, and the quality of the experience that they provide is significantly better than those who are reactive. People who have to be in a reactive mode, okay, tend to be less efficient. And that's just because they're thrown into a situation that they have to handle and figure out and whatever, and not necessarily have a plan for. And to me, unless you were working in an emergency room of a hospital, there's likely not a reason that you have to live your life, especially as an originator, being in 100% reactive mode. Sure, outside stimulus impacts us all the time. It's how we manage that. It's how we perceive the urgency of what needs to be done. It's how we set the expectation for that client, for that referral partner. Do our systems account for that? Do we budget our time and put certain things at certain times of the day, certain proactive steps that we can take. And we've talked about that a lot during the course of my coaching and training programs is that proactivity, is having that schedule, is having that discipline where you look at your day and the type of business, you look at your referral partners that you're doing. And again, no two businesses are identical, but the reality holds. There are certain things that happen at consistent days and times. There are certain things that have to be dealt with every day. Again, as a loan originator, there's really three things you do as an originator. You prospect for new opportunities. You process the opportunities that come to you as a result of that prospecting, and you manage the communications of those first two things. And yet there are loan officers out here who don't have a plan for how those three things take place on a daily basis. No when, no where, no buckets of time, if you will, as to when they're going to do certain things, what they do consistently day in and day out, what things don't need to be happening on a multiple point place in your day, some things that can be handled once a day, some things that have to be looked into 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day. But the reality of it is scheduling when you're going to do those things helps you place the tasks in each and every day and move from one to another and execute so that you can focus. Because let's be honest, the biggest myth in any business is that an individual human being can be available 24/7, 365. It's not possible. And anybody who has an expectation that it is possible is fooling themselves. And for people who sit there and say, if I'm not available 24/7, 365, I'll lose business. Well, you know what? That may be true. But the only business you're going to lose is people that you probably shouldn't be wasting your time with in the first place. Because there are systems, there are tools, there are technologies that can be put into place to help put yourself in a position and explain to the customer the experience and how things work and the value that's created by following that system and the impact it has on the quality of their own experience. And let's be honest, sure, you can go to the emergency room of a hospital, but that doesn't mean you're going to be seen right away. They even have priorities in emergency rooms. You may have a compound fracture of your arm. And you know what? If nobody else is in that emergency room, they'll see you right away. But God forbid there was a multi-vehicle accident, multi-people who are in worse shape than you. Yeah, they're going to make sure that you're not bleeding out, but you're going to sit and wait while that trauma surgeon or those other doctors take care of the people who are more seriously injured. The word for that is triage. They have a plan, even in an emergency room, because in an emergency room, they understand they have to have priorities. And that's what we have to do. Scheduling helps you take control, helps you set your priorities, helps you execute the plan that you put in place. This whole business plan means nothing if you don't schedule the time. Major League Baseball, 30 teams, they play 162 games a year. They start in April, maybe the end of March, go through October. We're still having the World Series just about to start right now. They just don't say, okay, we're going to start in April, we're going to end in October, go play 162 games by September 30th, and we'll figure out the playoffs. No, that's not how it happens. There's a schedule. And about 99% of all those games get played on exactly the day, time, and location that they were supposed to. Yes, there are times that those games get rescheduled. They get postponed for any number of other reasons. But 99+% of the time, the system is executed flawlessly because without a plan, all those teams don't get in all those games the way that they're supposed to. And that's the way your business needs to look. And the way you're going to do that is through scheduling. Now, if you have questions or comments about scheduling, things I might be able to help you with, as always, there's tools on the website, or you can email me, Mike@imtcoaching.com. We'll talk to you again next week. Take care.